Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome back for another video. In today's video, let's take a look at Pendle and see where we can land with a price target for the 2024-2025 bull run. And I want to say up front, Pendle is a very high conviction play for me. It is one of my top 5 high conviction buys right now. Right now, the day that I'm making this video, I love Pendle and I have a lot of data to present to you. So let's go ahead. But before we dive on into this, as always, this is not financial advice. This video is for entertainment purposes only. Please do your own research. I am not a financial advisor. And while I appreciate that so many of you are hopping in here from all over the place, you've got to hit that subscribe button. I make price target videos every day at 6 a.m. Eastern Time, United States. And I try to make multiple videos a day to keep up as much as possible with this rapidly changing crypto space. And while you're hitting that subscribe button, turn on the notification button as well so you don't miss a thing. But without further ado, let's go ahead and dive on into this. But before we talk about Pendle, we've got to talk about Arbitrum. Pendle is in the Arbitrum ecosystem, and I've already made a Arbitrum price target video. You can check that out. I had to revise my price. Check that out on the spreadsheet that you can see in the description of this video because Arbitrum has a big unlock coming in March of 2024 in my future, maybe not yours. But Arbitrum, this is the first thing that really grabbed my attention with Arbitrum. You can see 4.53% of every dollar that is locked into DeFi is locked into Arbitrum. And what's the big deal with that? Well, if you were to look at Arbitrum in comparison to every other one on this list, you would see that it has a much larger, much smaller market cap than every one of them. And I did a little bit of math here, and you can see the market cap compared to the dollar amount, the dollars that are locked in. And you can see Ethereum 9.35 times the amount of market cap as TVL. Tron's looking pretty strong there. BSC 1302, Solana 31, Avalanche 15, et cetera, et cetera. Arbitrum 0.89. And so what this made me want to do was to look within the Arbitrum ecosystem to find good deals. And my opinion, which I hold very strongly, is that Pendle is the #1 cryptocurrency worth buying in terms of risk versus reward in the Arbitrum ecosystem. And there's a lot of gold in their ecosystem, but I'm talking about Pendle in this video. Pendle is where it's at. When I already made a video on my TikTok channel, it was the hardest I ever worked on a TikTok video. And that video dropped on January 26th of 2024. You can see my video there, but the thing that I want to point out to you with this slide right here is when I made that video, today is February 19th, the day that I'm publishing this video at least. I'm making it on February 17th. But okay, today is February 17th. You can see $1.321 billion locked into the Pendle ecosystem. If you were to watch my video from January 26th, what you would see is this is straight from the website. You would see something like $400 million locked into the Pendle ecosystem. Money is flooding into Pendle. And so what you have to do, you have to understand why that's happening. And so let me try to explain a little bit as to why that's happening. And you can see it says trusted by. These are the backers: Binance Labs, Bixen Ventures, Crypto.com Capital, Mechanism Capital, Abra. You can see all of this on the website. There are some major institutional players backing Pendle because what Pendle does is it brings something that is very convenient and very much an institutional play and brings it into the blockchain for the first time ever. And so what is that? It's a process called yield tokenization. Split any yield-bearing asset into separate yield and principal components for maximum control. What this does is it lowers risk and provides a huge return. And we're talking about tokenization. And so we're talking about Pendle as a real world asset crypto. What's the benefit of yield tokenization? Let me read this. It's useful because it enables new financial instruments whose prices are correlated to the yield rate in different ways. This unlocks an entirely new market for yield boosting, yield hedging, and yield speculation that was simply not feasible without yield tokenization. Okay, so that might still sound confusing to you. I don't have time in this video to explain in depth what yield tokenization is. I will do my best. Let me tell you this up front. and maybe, first time I ever heard this, it got me bug-eyed. This is a thing that happens in real-world markets outside of the blockchain, in regular markets, that has a $400 trillion notional value. That is right now being brought into the blockchain, and we're not even, if this was a baseball game, we haven't even played the first pitch of the game. Okay, the closest thing that I could try to describe yield tokenization as would be yield farming. If you've ever done yield farming, I've done that a lot on different platforms like PancakeSwap, like Beefy.finance. Yield farming is you take two assets, let's just say Ethereum and USDT. And what you do is you merge those into an LP, and that LP will generate yield for you. But there's a risk with that. Now, Ethereum versus USDT, that is a pretty low risk, but there's been lots of options that would offer really high rates of return, like 300% return on these two cryptocurrencies that you merge into one, like Binance token and then the Cake token from PancakeSwap. You merge those two into one, and it promises high yield. Maybe, I don't know, I'm just off the top of my head, what if it's 80% annual return? And that sounds great. But here's the problem with yield farming is it's something called impermanent loss. If you merge two assets into one LP, what can happen is if one of those two assets plummets dramatically, and then you break the LP and you try to get your two assets back, what you'll have is a whole bunch of the one asset that plummeted and very little of the one asset that held its value. This is something called impermanent loss. It's a huge risk. I would not recommend yield farming because of that. Impermanent loss is a huge risk. Now, I would recommend it for more stable cryptocurrencies, even though we're talking about crypto. But you're talking about, you're seeing 300%, 400% annual return. You're going to lose that through the process of impermanent loss. Yield tokenization is very similar to yield farming, except it removes the risk of impermanent loss. And this is something that institutions, they love. They would very much be taking advantage of yield farming if it wasn't for impermanent loss, but they will do yield tokenization. There's many benefits to yield tokenization, including buying discounted Ethereum. Again, I'm not going to talk about that in this video, but you've got to look into yield tokenization, and this is all happening with Pendle. Pendle is a first mover, and there are very few competitors with Pendle. There are many different narratives that I could explain to you, potential narratives with Pendle itself. First of all, we have LSDeFi, liquid staking derivatives. You got to think about DeFi in 2021. DeFi was in the early stages of DeFi. Now, what we're seeing is advancements in DeFi. The advancements that are coming to DeFi, the advancements that are already here are amazing. And Pendle, in my opinion, is the one that's most primed to take advantage of the new and sexy things that come with advancements in DeFi, LSDeFi being one of them. Pendle is the #1 crypto in this niche, and that could be a huge narrative. The other one, LRTFi, liquid restaking finance. There are only two cryptocurrencies, so again, we are very early. Two cryptocurrencies, Pendle and Sommelier. I don't know much about Sommelier. That's probably one worth looking into as well. Very small market cap, $55 million, something worth looking into. Who knows? Maybe it's the next Pendle, but only two cryptocurrencies in this huge advancement in DeFi. And then, of course, I already talked about this, but RWA cryptos, real world assets, we have Pendle #3, but I talked about this in my NXRA video. I talked about, I have a hypothesis that older cryptocurrencies in the RWA niche will outperform some of the newer ones. Ondo, largest RWA crypto, is very new. It's less than a month old from the day that I'm making this video. Centrifuge, I believe, is pretty new. Pendle is not new. LCX, NXRA, the cryptocurrency is new, but Alliance Block is not new. I think the older ones are going to have more of an opportunity because this takes time to build and develop. And now what we're seeing right now with Pendle's TVL exploding the way that it is the process of building something like what Pendle is building, that it's yielding its fruit finally. So I think Pendle is going to be the #1 RWA crypto at the peak, whenever that comes. And so, okay, Pendle, It's going to be not the easiest thing in the world to chart this because Pendle is already in price discovery mode. It launched at a pretty terrible time in 2021 and went straight down, went down to 4 cents in the bear market, and then it's already up to $2.95, gotten as high as $3.25. So what do we do with this? I'm going to have to take a few liberties. I can't really look at historic market cap dominance. There's other things that I can't really look at, but I have a plan that I'm laying out in this video. Before we get into that, I do want to say, here's a complaint, and I wouldn't even, here's a concern that was brought up to me, and that is if you look at the largest wallets of Pendle, it seems like it's a pretty concentrated supply. Now, this isn't nearly as bad as some of the other ones I've called out in the past. It's not as bad as HBAR. It's not as bad as Neo and Nakamoto Games. Those are three pretty egregious offenders when it comes to the concentration of their wallets. But this is, it's pretty significant. I mean, I'm looking at the top 8 wallets here. The number one is Binance, which is that the Binance Exchange or is it Binance Labs? I wouldn't be surprised if this was Binance Exchange. But, okay, here's my response to this. We're talking about something with DeFi that institutions are very interested in. So they are pouring money into this like crazy. I mean, I already showed you. We've already seen in less than a month, $1 billion flow into Pendle's ecosystem. Who is that? That is by and large institutional investors. Do you want to get into the thing that the institutions are flooding their money into right now ahead of potentially a massive bull run? I very much do, and that's why I've bought some, and I am holding this with a lot of conviction. So this is not a concern at all for me. It is a concern in one regard. This makes me want to take profits sooner than where my price target is, and my price target is pretty aggressive on that. I just want to point that out as something to keep on your radar, but this is not a concern to me. So again, I already talked about historic market cap dominance. You can see that Pendle's market cap dominance has exploded like crazy. We're not comparing this to May of 2021. We're not even comparing this to April of 2023. We are in a new paradigm with Pendle. I can see Pendle's market cap dominance going much higher right now. For reference, it is at 0.02%, which is pretty much right at its all-time high in market cap dominance. I am estimating that this is going to increase tenfold. It's already increased tenfold. Given the rate of money that's flooding into Pendle, it makes a lot of sense for Pendle to peak, in my opinion, somewhere around 0.2% with its market cap dominance. And so with that in mind, 0.2% market cap dominance, assuming a $7 trillion total one market cap, maybe we'll go higher than that, maybe we'll go lower. That gives us a $14 billion market cap for Pendle. I estimate that there's going to be about a 245 million circulating supply for Pendle. So that gives us a price for Pendle of $57.14 at its peak. That is about a 19x from today. This is a high conviction play for me. However, given the size of the wallets, this is something that I will be taking profits on aggressively. We see even a $10 Pendle, I'm taking some profits out. We see a $20 Pendle, a $30 Pendle, I am taking some profits out, probably looking at fibs or whatever, maybe not fibs, but because we're already in price discovery mode, but something. There's certain levels along the way that I'll be taking up profits aggressively. If we get to $57.14 and beyond, I wouldn't be surprised if I had like 5% of the Pendle tokens that I have right now. FYI, but that is my price. I would not be surprised if we went higher than that. Maybe it's too aggressive. I wouldn't be surprised if we didn't reach that. But around that ballpark seems to make sense to me. But anyway, that is all I have for today. I hope you have a wonderful day, a wonderful rest of your week. I hope you got something out of this. And if you did, be sure to turn on that subscribe button and the notification button, like the video, and leave a comment, all for the algorithm. Otherwise, I will most certainly be seeing you in another video. Peace.